What's up, everybody? This is the first C2R live stream series. I have Zyaire Porter from Porterhouse, LA. This is something that I wanted to do for a while. It's meant to educate, also entertain in certain type of ways, but really it's about informing people what it means to own a company. In this session, we're talking about photography and video, and I have a individual that I call a friend and a colleague in this industry that we go way back from high school to now. He was also a person that was kind of like what influenced me to go full time. So we're gonna just go through a couple of just house item things just so you can understand how the live stream works. And then after that, we'll go into the live stream and introduce Zyaire. So as you see up top, it's the title. And then over to the, or that way, over there in the top right for you, it's going to be a timer. We really respect your time. It'll be a 60-minute timer. We're going to stay on time and make sure that we get this good. Another thing, too, is at the very bottom, you'll see where it says the questions will go here as we go through the event. You'll always know what we're talking about. And so that's one thing that I wanted to do to make sure that everybody was in tune. They knew what was going on. We're live on Crowdcast, and we're also live on Facebook. This will be recorded and go on to YouTube. For people both on YouTube and Wirecast, go ahead and put any comments, represent, say who you are, all those different things. On Crowdcast, we actually have a polls. Go ahead and go into there and answer that just so we can know who's on the podcast or live stream. And then you can ask a question on both. So in the comment section on Facebook, go ahead and ask questions. And then also on Crowdcast, there's an actual section that says ask a question. You can ask a question. We're going to go through these different questions here. So let me go to that. So what is the importance of branding your photo and video production company? Have you adapted to the new market in terms of COVID-19 in order to grow your business? What are the importance of providing multiple services to multiple types of clients within your company? Then we'll have a question and answers where we'll go ahead and answer those questions. And then how has your experience been as an entrepreneur of color? This one is really important and it's not really talked about a lot. And how you've taken your experience and created a loyal, multiracial list of clients. Again, that's going to be really key for this session, and me and Zyaire are going to brainstorm and talk about that thing. Lastly, we're going to talk about what are strategies during COVID-19, like the market of COVID-19 and beyond to continue to grow your business. So how do you adapt? How do you pivot? All those different things. We'll end with questions, and that's the way things are going to go. So without further ado, let me introduce Zyaire Porter. Introduce yourself.
I am Zyaire Porter, photographer here in Los Angeles. I'm coming up on year 12 in the industry. I started Porterhouse LA about maybe 7 or 8 years ago as a brand. I just wanted to separate myself from my actual work. So I wanted to create a name and a brand that people can go to and understand and like and book and all those good things. So I'm from Inglewood, so I like to rep Los Angeles as much as I can, as you can see. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's it for now.
So talk about it, man. Like let's just kind of dive in a little bit deeper when it comes to just your journey. What made you want to be an entrepreneur, and what made you want to gravitate into just pretty much making your own money and not having a job?
Right. I think what really made me want to be an entrepreneur is working for other people, I guess. Understanding that I don't think I can be a millionaire by making a millionaire another million. So I would rather make my own 20,000, 50,000, 100,000 rather than hopefully make 20,000, but this millionaire I'm working for is guaranteed he's going to net or gross over a million or three that year. So it really just didn't make sense to me for me to spend the majority of my time working for a millionaire when I didn't have 50,000 to my name.
No, I totally get it, man. I think you were one of my inspirations. I remember when we were doing work at at what was that?
All Dev Digital. Yeah,
All
I
Dev
remember.
Digital, yeah. With you, Ken. Shout out to Ken. Y'all
Shout out
brought me
Ken.
on, and I was driving from Santa Barbara every single Wednesday for 2 hours, just kind of getting that touch of what it was like to be in that type of an entrepreneurial environment, and it bit me, and I was like, man, I got to do this. I got to figure out how I can get out of my job and figure out how I can do this full time. My job was wonderful. Shout out to UC Santa Barbara. But that was my leap. I wanted to be able to fully own what I did.
Right.
So that was something really great for me. One last question, then we'll get into the actual section of everything. What
Yep.
made you leap? What was the one thing? Can you think back into like one thing that was just like, man, I have to do this. Like it's now or never now. I'm doing it. Like what was that
Uh,
leaping moment?
Leaping moment was I worked at Islands. Shout out to Islands. I worked at Islands, and in the restaurant business, you can't just call off work. Somebody has to cover your shift. So I remember I got a call from Jado. Shout out Jado. And he wanted me to come to a video shoot where it was doing something Buster Rhymes, something like that. And I couldn't go because nobody could cover my shift. So at that moment, I was like, yeah, I can't be here because I feel like I'm missing out on what I'm supposed to be doing by doing something just to make a dollar. So that was one of the big moments where I was like, yeah, this is the beginning of the end for me here at Islands.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah, it sticks out. I still think about that because I didn't have anything planned. I didn't have no money saved up, but I knew I was about to leave Islands and I didn't know what I was going to do after that.
Well, yeah, man. Let's get into it. Let's get
Let's do
into
it.
it. I'm gonna put on the timer right now, everybody, so you'll be able to see that go up. This timer is gonna just kind of keep us on schedule and everything. But the first question is, what is the importance of branding for your photo and video company? So I'll let you take it away.
Okay. Importance of branding for me goes with being consistent with your work. Um, Dealing with clients or potential clients, they want to see that you can provide this service over and over again. They want to feel like you didn't get lucky and got a great shot or a great video one time. They want to make sure that you are capable of consistently bringing that product to the table every time. So branding yourself is a big part of that. They know what they're getting, the turnaround time. Um, it's real important for them to know what they are spending their money on. If we're going to be straight blunt, people have dollar amounts and they want to know what they're getting for their dollar amount. So you want to be consistent with what you provide and be honest. If you can't provide that, you need to let them know. But your brand should speak for itself when it comes to creating.
I think that's really important, man. And I think what you hit on is really important as far as branding, not just being what people see, but it's also what they see you do, right? Because in a sense, you're branding yourself as well. And I've always been took pride in making sure that I was representing my company well, and my company was representing me well, right? So
Right.
I would hire people that I can trust, that knows what they're doing, how to do it, and also just pretty much just good people, right? You don't want to like mess
Right.
around with people who are going to make your brand look bad, right? Because that travels. Another
Right.
thing too that I always think about is the ability to make sure that you're looking at every single detail, every because everything about presentation matters. So like with you, you have Porterhouse LA dot net, I believe, right? Emails
Correct.
that goes out. It's not a Gmail. Just like me, I have my C2R Productions.com. All those little things matter because people. It's almost like wearing good shoes when you go into a meeting, right? It's just the little things that make people see that you're serious.
Or
And
a nice watch.
yeah, exactly. And
Mhm.
that's always wonderful to be able to be in that phase of understanding what branding means, and then especially companies who you're working with that are like agencies or brand agencies, they see that too. So you can make relationships with them, and they see that you know how to represent yourself. That means that you can represent your client. So I
Right.
really do believe that that is something that's
And just to add on to what you're saying, it also creates space for other creatives to join you in your brand. So if you create a brand that is something that they would like to be a part of, you immediately create your community, your demo, the people who you will service, the people who you will create with, who will work for you and help you build your brand, your consistency, and so on and so forth.
I like what you just said. Let's go and dive a little bit further into that. As far as people that you're creating with, you've sent me a lot of work. I've sent you a lot of work. Just an open-ended question. Why is that important?
For many reasons. Main reason is because I didn't get a lot of just open-ended offers from many people when I was coming up. Um, it's important that you share the information, you share the clients, and because there's plenty of money for everybody. I'm not selfish. I don't think this is mine or they can only work with me. It's not that type of game to me. I'm more so I find joy in other people getting the same success I'm getting because I know it's obtainable. So I don't want to hoard anybody. You can work with whoever you want to. I'm gonna offer them to you if I'm not available. So it's really important because I want the community of creatives to be open. Like we shouldn't be selfish with our clients or with our resources.
That's spot on, man. That's exactly what I would have said. And I think that it's important for creatives to know that when you're doing these collaborations, right? Zaire's my go-to when it comes to photography. I always will hit up Zyaire if somebody asks me, Brandon, do you do photography? I say no, but I know the person that you need to get, right? And if Zaire's not available, I have other people that I can call on to as well. So that's a part of your infrastructure of your business. You need to be able to have abilities to call people because you don't really have that time. I mean, time is the most important thing when it comes to a business. If you're successful, you get less time and your time becomes more valuable. And if you're just
Right.
a one man band like how our companies are, right? You're gonna have to figure out ways of how you can duplicate yourself. So you can hire somebody to do another event or to edit a certain project and things of that nature. All of that stuff comes together and develops your brand. It develops your vision of what your company is. And I have seen, and I've had a lot of questions of people asking me this of what it means, or they just can't get around to it. They'll just like do a Gmail or they'll send, they'll just send people to their Instagram, but they also have some other stuff on the Instagram that really wouldn't promote what they're
Right.
doing. For me, I use Instagram in a hybrid way. I talk about family, I talk about my dog, I talk about a lot of stuff about video and photo when it comes to my story. But Zyaire actually has been on me ever since I started social media. I was really on Instagram when I went full time. He's been on me about separating that and having the C2R productions, updating my website and all those things. So you got to have people that's accountable that can get on you and be like, look, man, we don't know what your work look like. Still, you need to set it up, and it's actually benefiting my business. So it's one thing
Right.
about having people that are there for you, supportive, but then also people that you can work with and make money with. So
Right.
that just creates a recipe of success. Do you have anything else you want to talk about when it comes to this particular question?
Sure. You're always going to need help, no matter who you are, no matter what level you're at. You will always need help of some kind from somebody. So you might want to help somebody on your way up. So because you never know who you're going to need help from once you get there. So just keep that in mind. Don't get too ahead of yourself. Don't get too mannish, as my grandmother would say. But yeah, just make sure you're helping someone along the way because you're going to need help eventually.
What goes around comes around, right?
Facts of life.
All right, let's get to the next question.
Let's do
So,
it.
how have you adapted to the new market in terms of COVID-19 in order to grow your business?
Goodness gracious, COVID. This has been the craziest year of my entire existence. But because of COVID-19, I have adapted in many ways. First, I set up a studio in my garage for pretty much anything I may need, mostly for product shots. But if somebody needs a studio area that they could use for headshots, you can come to the garage and I can take care of that. But also with the product shots, it's an easy way of having a product mailed to me. shooting the products and then mailing them back to the client. So there's no face to face contact. We're social distancing, but we're still getting work done because obviously, if even if the world's ending, somebody needs product shots. So people will sell something until the last day on earth. So if you can provide product shots, that is the most beneficial thing to do during COVID-19. I have also, sorry, I got my notes. I would say during this COVID time, take advantage of all of these deals. Every website, almost every website, is doing some type of 50% off, 40% off because they have inventory sitting that's been there for months. So now they need to get rid of it. So I would say invest in something you need. If you don't have, for photographers, if you don't have a photo setup or lighting setup or a backdrop, a lot of things right now are very, very cheap or very, very discounted, but it could benefit you in the long run and in the future. So those are my two adjustments from COVID, but I am definitely going to do some more once things get back to somewhat normal.
Man, those are good things. And I actually learned a couple of things from that too. I didn't really think about like when it comes to sales and inventory and stuff like that. So, I mean,
Everybody needs product shots, man.
yeah, I mean, I've been buying equipment, but I haven't really thought about sales stuff and things like that.
Right.
I would say, man, like you hit it right on the net on the nail. I remember when the whole stay at home thing happened and people were like panicking. Like a lot of my clients, and I do a lot of corporate and big nonprofit stuff. A lot of them were like, yeah, with good reason. I mean, when it comes to COVID-19, at least I should say this, like anybody who's been impacted by that, I truly do say like, man, it's tough out there. And
Right.
what we're talking about right now when it comes to business in reaction to this doesn't go against what the actual virus is and how it's impacting the world. So I just want to make sure that that's known. We're just talking about it from a business standpoint of how we can still keep
Right.
surviving and keep moving. So when it's over, we can all come out better in the end. But with that being said, when it comes to the way that like things were happening, man, like I was on my email and I just got a flurry of emails that said COVID-19, COVID-19, COVID-19. And I knew what COVID-19 was, but at that time it was just like, whoa, 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 wait, what's going on? It was a stay at home thing and all of my events got canceled. I lost
Right.
thousands of dollars in like a matter of 10 minutes for all my
Right.
interviews and stuff. So I do video production, as many of you know, and a lot of my stuff is event recap stuff. So that immediately resulted in me losing a lot of clients. What I did though, it quickly, you have to be an optimist when you're an entrepreneur. You have to understand, like, okay, what can I do? How can I pivot? How can I figure out something? Just like how Zyaire said, doing product shots and all that stuff. I looked into live streaming, and so I contacted one of my biggest clients immediately just to test it out. And I said, what if we change the event to being a live streaming event? And they were like, yeah, let's do it. Can you give us a demo at on Monday? And I was like, it's Thursday. Like, I don't know nothing about live streaming, you know? And I had to figure it out. It was grunt work. Like, my wife can tell you, I was like not sleeping. I was up till 4 o'clock in the morning every single night just to make sure that I can understand it to the degree of being a professional. So
Right.
whatever question that they asked me, I knew the problem, I knew how to fix the problem, and I knew how to react effectively. Like those are the things that I need to understand something to over 100%. I need to know even more than what you should know adequately so I can call it a profession of mine. So that's something that I had to do. So with that, now I have about 3 or 4 clients right now doing remote live streaming. I'm working on another one with that big company that I was talking to you about, the big nonprofit. We're doing the same thing. It was a success, and I'm doing a lot of remote stuff just from home and making money with video. I would have never thought that I was going to be doing live streaming with my company. Even
Right.
like a couple of months, like I was like, a couple of months ago, I was like, who cares about live stream? I don't want to do that. Like
Right.
that's stuff, but I love it now, man. Like,
Right.
and it's crazy how how this pandemic has changed my company to where this is what I really want to be the forefront of my business. So it's pretty crazy, man.
It's dope. Yeah, I'm so glad I didn't invest in a photo booth that I thought I wanted. So it worked. It worked out.
Yeah, dude. All right, so let's go to the next one, man.
Yep.
We're good on time. All right, so what is the importance of providing multiple services to multiple types of clients within your company?
Importance of multiple. Well, we should know that I am an avid fan of having multiple streams of income. So with that being said, it's only pretty genius that you would have to have multiple services within your brand, whatever it may be. I'm speaking from the photography aspect. So within my company, I offer photo albums, prints. That's actual physical prints that you probably can see above my head. I can't tell where. Yeah, but those are pictures in frames. What else? Editing services. If you have photos that someone else took and you would like them edited, that's another service I provide. I also have merchandise, some items that I've created, and also memberships. I do offer memberships for those who think ahead and hate doing last minute things. So if you need to find a photographer, or if you know you're pregnant and you want to have a maternity shoot later this year, then a membership would probably benefit you instead of waiting to the last minute to find a photographer and then things of that nature. So I think I just named about 5 or 6 different ways to make money besides actually taking pictures and sending them to the clients. It's very important because it's a very changing time, a very changing world that we live in. So you want to be able to offer multiple things to multiple people because everybody's different. This client may not want that, but this client loves having a book of 4x6s like it's 1952. So it's really just being everything for everyone so you can be happy with yourself, if that makes sense. But I think diversifying is the easiest or the smartest way. I wouldn't say easy. It's not easy at all. It's the smartest way to sustain yourself in crazy times like now. So if you only have one resource or one avenue for money in your business, you might want to think about doing something to help that.
I don't know if you want to go into the other companies that you have as well, just to kind of talk about other companies that you started. Do you want to do that?
Oh, I can, sure.
Talk about that.
I have a brand called Seven Streams Club. That is a clothing brand, but more so of a community where we discuss and promote financial literacy based on having multiple streams of income. That is a merchandise brand for now, but eventually we would like to do events, maybe bi-monthly or monthly events, teaching and learning financial literacy. But of course, that plan has been shattered by COVID-19. So we're trying to figure out what we can do as far as events go. I also have a branding company called OMEM, Ordinary Man, Extraordinary Mind. This is where I provide just all medium platforms of service. That's websites, logos, graphics, and clothing, if you would like that as well. So that's just a media company that I provide services for other people. And then Seven Streams Club is just a clothing brand. So, and then Porterhouse LA, of course, is my photography, my breadwinner, and what I love to do the most.
So I think that's really good, man. What you're talking about as far as all your different companies, they're in different industries and they attract different clients and they have different scopes, right? So like people
Right.
who want photography is specific to that, but then anybody who believes in the vision of having multiple streams of income could be with seven streams, right? So
Correct.
you're diversified, but then you're also diversified in other outlets. So I think that's really key for people to understand that even if you're creative, right? You don't have to stop there. When it comes to multiple streams of income, when it comes to multiple clients, that can extend outside of your photography realm. So even take this time to develop and organize another type of company that is going to bring you more money in, right?
Right.
You never know. That might take off and be the way to where it's just going to fill up your bottom line and you can get really creative with your creative company, right? So there's a whole bunch of different opportunities even outside of photo and video. For me,
Right.
I'm actually in talks doing a business with two other individuals. They would get mad at me if I talk about it right now. You know about it, but it's
I'll say it's in trouble.
yeah, it's gonna be huge though. We can't talk about that though. That's why my 2 cents when it comes to having multiple businesses is kind of limited for this discussion. But in future discussions, we will. But like I said, like having those multiple streams is great. And right now, I'm taking advantage of having live stream, doing editing services for especially if you're in video production. If you can look all the existing resources that you have, right? So even if you can't do live streaming, you can go to your clients and say, look, we have all of this existing content that we've done for you. Let's create some videos with a holistic messaging from your past videos, and you can get some some audio narrations from Fiverr.com. Some professional people can talk over the videos that you're making for them, and just prepare that. That's a new avenue of wealth that you can make, or income that you can make, without having to leave home. So it's just those little things. Look at all the resources that you have right now, and see in the relationship with the client that you have, and see how you can finesse it into creating opportunities for them. Because as Zyaire said, this is a situation where it's almost like Wild Wild West. Like, you don't really know what's going on. We don't know the state of health wise and how things are going. We pray that everything is going to get better, but we also understand that this is a serious pandemic. So you have to realize, from a business standpoint, you have the power and you have the control and you have the authority by working for yourself to plan ahead, or plan right now, and say, this is what I want to offer for you because it will be valuable to you. So that's something that, and then one last thing, as far as when it comes to this question, when it comes to providing multiple services for different clients, you also have to understand the importance of what that means for your business, right? So if you can provide multiple services, we can always kind of combine and bundle those services. That makes you stand out from another person who's just a freelancer, who doesn't have branding, who doesn't have a company, who uses a Gmail, and they reach out and they say, I want to do this for your client for $400. But if I say I can do it for $950, and I have a Brandon at C2RProductions.com, a website with full of work that you can see, www.c2rproductions.com. I can do live streaming. I can do all these other things and that live streaming is not even involved with the 950. We can add that on, right? I also have other people who I can reach out to, like Zyaire, as an option to put his rates for photography to add on to that too. The client, if you're working with a client who really understands and want quality, and most corporations and most small businesses want that, they're going to go with you unless it's a budget situation. And I tend to not go for clients that are budget focused. They're more so focused on the craft. And that's why I mostly do corporate and big nonprofit, things of that nature. But I do some other things from time to time. But usually you want to identify what client that you want. It's not just about having clients, right? It's about having the right type of client that fits your mode of what you do. So if you want to raise your prices, you have to raise your standards of how you do things. And that's something that I've learned over the last 5 years of me being independent, which is crazy. I just thought about that. That's crazy. 5 years.
That is crazy. 5 years. That is crazy. But when you're hesitant.
Well, almost 5 years. 4 years. 5. Yeah. Well, I gotta think about it.
Wow. I just remember time is flying.
Yeah. All right. So let's see if we got any questions.
Yeah, let's do it.
I don't think that we do, so we'll just continue to move on. But does anybody have any questions for us? You can write them down in the comments. You can go into the poll and ask a question. If you're on Crowdcast, you can go. It should say ask a question. You can ask questions to us. We'll have time if we don't get to it. What's up, Leon? How you doing? Dro, how you doing? Aisha, how you doing? Paul, what's up?
What up?
Man, yeah, this is dope. So again, we're live streaming to 2 platforms, to Facebook and also to Wirecast. If you have any questions, let us know. But if not, It seems like either we're doing a phenomenal job or a very, very bad job. So we'll just keep going, and if I see a question pop up, then I'll get to it. But yeah, let's keep it flowing. Let's keep it flowing.
Let's do it.
All right. So next question. All right. So this one is something. Yo, what's up, Tim? How you doing? This one is something that is a very. We might spend some time here, man, because I really wanted to talk about this. I think people don't necessarily talk about these things, especially on live streams, and especially to each other. I think this is always an
Right.
internal battle that we deal with of being an entrepreneur of color and understanding how we can provide our services to the world, even outside of our own identity of how we identify, right? So I think it's a conversation that needs to be had, and it's something that we can have right now. So the first thing, we'll split it
Sure.
up into two. I know I put two questions up here, but it's how has your experience been as an entrepreneur of color? So I'll let you get started.
My experience as an entrepreneur of color. Where do I begin? It's interesting. Interesting is probably the only word I could use to describe it. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes it's not fair. Sometimes it's the best thing in the world. Um, Being an entrepreneur of color, you learn you the longer you're an entrepreneur, the more you see the difference and how the difference becomes the difference. Whether it's through agencies, whether it's through favoritism, whether it's through tax brackets, whether it's through access or um, just rapport. Some people don't even care that your work is better. They just use who they use, and that's who they're going to use. They don't care how horrible it is, but they don't want the new uh, colored people of color to infiltrate their system because then it wouldn't be their system anymore. So I've been in situations where I could have shot that, but I couldn't have shot that, if that makes sense. I'm trying to be as PC as I can be, but there are so many things that, for example, let's say I've shot a lot of concerts in my career. To get to those concerts and to get that access, it's like going through hell. It's you literally have to talk to this person and get approval from this person, this email address, this person not responding, this person giving you a run around. And then once you get the access, I'm in the pit with people who are not of color asking me, who is this performing? What's their name? I don't know who that is. Oh, are they important? Like these are people who just the access that I have to fight for, they just get automatically and they don't even care. Like it doesn't mean anything to them. So once I realized that, I was like, maybe I need to readjust what I'm doing here, because if these people are getting the access that I'm begging for absolutely nothing, then why am I forcing myself to be here when obviously I'm not wanted? So I had to really think about the importance of photography and the value I bring to whatever I capture. So I didn't want to continue to try to force myself in a realm where obviously I'm not wanted, or just devaluing myself by continuing to just try to force my way into it. So that's just a small endeavor. We can keep going. I don't want to stop this conversation.
No, no, definitely. I would say that for me, it was a struggle for me at first. When I first um, got into the wild, as I would say, of this whole thing called being an entrepreneur. Didn't have experience to have pride in it, but I did have pride in being black, right? I definitely had pride in who I was and what I've accomplished, and it really had gave me the fundamental of going to UC Santa Barbara, which is a predominantly white campus, and dealing with those different things, both great and both kind of not so great.
Right.
And then leaving that, I mean, developing who I was there, becoming, being able to work there as in all types of different positions, and then creating my own position there, and then deciding to leave that. Like it felt powerful to me to be
Right.
able to do that. So when I became an entrepreneur, man, and when it became real for me, I had to develop what that meant for me. And then I also had to combine both of who I am as a person and who I am as a company, because everybody has to do that, right? And there's a unique experience, just like how you were talking about, of how do you grow your business, and in some segments of your area that you're doing business, you're not wanted, and that's true. There's a lot of different ways where I've contacted people, or I've met people and shook their hands, and you can tell immediately they were like, nah, they didn't even hear what I had to say.
Right.
And but with other people there, they were giving them time. I've been to various conferences, or various different meet and greets, and there's been some situations where I was like, "Ooh, that was tough, right?" But then at those very same places, I've met people that have been outside of my race that's given me opportunities because I didn't stop. I did not stop.
Right.
You know, I did not stop. I shook people's hands. I didn't put any type of stereotype on individuals because I didn't want them to do that to me.
Right.
And if it happened, it happened. Not saying that that's right. That needs to change. But within the past of understanding the structure and different systems of different things, I had to figure out what can I do to continue to grow and to continue to get clients outside of the race. Because I think sometimes, and I never really had to deal with this because my company was made in UC Santa Barbara. So I had like some opportunities to be able to work with people outside of my race. But I know a lot of creatives who even ask me now, like, how are you getting these jobs that aren't these different things? People always ask me, like, do you do music videos? Do you do all these different things? And they say, I'm not a music video. I wanted the corporate video. And I would just tell them to do it. Contact somebody.
Right.
Talk to people who you know that are doing it, right? And then it goes back to what we talked about like working with each other. Because, like, say for instance, like I've given you some jobs that weren't necessarily black jobs, and you've given me some jobs that wasn't necessarily black jobs. And I'm not saying that those jobs are bad, but I think that we can also introduce ourselves into those situations as well, where we can go broader and get out of just doing work for the community. And when I say that, don't get me wrong, I love doing stuff for the black community. I think that I love doing certain projects that come up to mind. Is I did this great project with AT&T, and it was this project called The Merge, and it was like religious and Hollywood and all these different things. I was in tears filming, man, because it was just like, this is all me. I'm feeling this, man. Like this is like what I do this for, right? But I always say, look at it like this. There's nothing wrong with having a black business. There's nothing wrong with that. If you specifically want to do business just with black people in the black community and black businesses, it's nothing wrong with that. But if you're doing business just with black people and with black businesses because you are hesitant to reach out to people outside of your race, that's a problem. And those are the things that I'm talking about. When you identify as an entrepreneur of color, you have to have the courage to do that. We actually have a question from Dro. She said, I recently heard a black entrepreneur says your profession should be your activism. What does that mean to you?
My profession should be my activism. To me, I would say that means whatever you're doing it with the purpose of creating something better for you, your community, your family, whatever you're leaving behind, because we all have a expiration date. So if you're just doing something just for a dollar amount or just for popularity or trying to be a celebrity, then you miss the whole point of being a professional at anything. You would want to be a professional at whatever you're doing to bring change or to bring sustainability to those that come after you. So in my profession of creating memories, I'm giving people a reason to have a legacy, because look at grandmother on her wedding day. These pictures were taken by Porterhouse LA. You want them to be proud of their last name, be proud of what they came from. But it's hard to do that without pictures, honestly, and it's hard to do that without stories. So if you're not telling a story or giving them videos or pictures of what they came from, then you're missing out on why you are creating. To be honest.
Exactly. Yeah, I would answer this drill as saying that my profession is my activism, and that's the reason why I wanted to start this live stream series. I felt that the best thing that I can do is share information, share what I've learned. I'm not an expert, but I'm a learner, right? And learners
Student,
need to be
never a
teachers,
student.
right? Yeah, students need to be teachers as well. And I feel like my life, the way that I try to live, is I'm on a ladder, and there's people on top and there's people on bottom. And those people are giving me information, and I'm helping somebody else come up that ladder too. It's all about legacy, like what Zyaire said. And, when it comes to acting upon your mission of who you want to be, that should mirror what your company is about. And I look at myself as a person that I want to give to community of all walks of life. I want to be able
Right.
to bring people together and have them understand that opportunity is out there, and you can do this. You can work for yourself and make money. And when things like this happen, hopefully they don't happen a lot, like COVID-19, that we can go and be creative and still make money, right? There's different examples of I can talk about, but just in a nutshell, I think when you see somebody doing that, before I left my job, when I was working at UC Santa Barbara, I was studying up. I was seeing different individuals owning their own businesses, even outside of the creative world, and they were my example. And a lot of them were entrepreneurs of color. And so I've been blessed to see certain individuals that I've worked with, that I've hired, go full time as well. And I know that, and they've told me like, "Hey, Brandon, I see you doing what you're doing. I want to do the same thing." And it's like one of the most beautiful things, man. Like for real, it's one of the best things that you can see, because you see that you're leading by example, and you're truly touching lives, and you're touching people, to be able to take ownership of their life and say, "Yeah, I want to do this. I want to be able to do what you're doing." And I've seen some of them do some stuff where I'm like, "Yo, man, hire me. Look what you doing." You know, and they will, right? And sometimes I go on jobs with people, and I'm under them, and they're like, "Yo, look how things have turned, man." So it's all encompassed within that. Like it's a whole world of just you giving, and then people giving back to you, because that's what it is. And I think that's how I act upon that. My business is me, and I push and try to do that. So
So,
that's good. We got
great
another.
question.
Let's see when. We'll get to these other questions. We got Jarrell and Aisha asking questions. We're going to get to that right after this question.
Okay.
But let's go into the second question that we have here, Z. Let's
Okay.
talk about how have you taken your experience and created a loyal multiracial list of clients.
With that being said, from what I said earlier, now I purposely market to and try to get clients of multiple colors. It's very important to me because people speak on other cultures because they don't understand it, and you won't understand it unless you make an effort to try to understand it. So I intentionally try to get people that I know nothing about and book them, not even for the pictures, more so for the conversation, to understand when you see a black photographer or a black creative, what do you think that you're going to get? Like, what do you think the experience is like? Because if it's negative, you're about to get your mind blown, and if it's positive, I want to reassure you that you're correct. So I try to purposely, I even do specials, I'll do discounts, I'll do little Facebook group posts where it's like a certain type of person in there, and I'll offer a special to that group only, just to try to understand people more. Because honestly, part of why the world is the way it is because they're pointing at other people saying, you guys are weird and that's weird. But if you look in the mirror, you're just as weird as they are. So everybody is different, and that's what makes everybody amazing. Nobody is the same, which makes everybody amazing. So instead of that being a negative statement, that should be what makes us great as a people, not being racist, not saying we don't like your people because they do that. Maybe you should love them because their people does that. Maybe okay, I'm getting too deep. Never mind. But
No, that's
that in a
fine.
nutshell, that in a nutshell is how I've been trying to diversify not just my portfolio, but just my experience on Earth because I would love to learn more about people that I have no idea about.
You know, what I'm hearing from you, not to restate it, but I guess to respond to what you're saying is, when I think about what you just talked about, I think about all the different experiences that I've had that I would have never had if I wasn't in the profession that I'm in, and if I
Right.
didn't go out for that client that may have turned me down, right? I've done some weddings when I was doing wedding videography, like crazy weddings, like Indian weddings, like that was just completely outside of my culture and comfort space. You know, being able to understand that you got to take off your shoes at the ceremony, and you know, there's certain places that you can be and not. You know, it's different from a Catholic, like a Catholic wedding or a traditional. You know,
Right.
just a traditional wedding ceremony, and just being able to understand and respect those different cultures. Those are things that I live on, man. And then you see how your creativity becomes different because you have a different interpretation of the world, right?
Right.
So now, like when I walk into a room, I could literally be in a room full of people who do not look like me, and I won't even think about it until honestly after. Like I'm like, oh wow, I was the only black person in there, you know.
Right.
But in the mode of business, I go in and it's like, yo, this is what we're doing. This is what I can do for you because I have the confidence and I have the experience of working with different individuals, and I think that that truly shapes your presence, which ultimately shapes the trajectory of your business, right? You have to have a presence of confidence to be able to do work. Not looking for handouts, not looking for people to work with you just because you're black. I'm not gonna
Right.
hire somebody just because they're black. That ain't happening. I'm not.
Right.
If somebody reaches out to me and says, "Yo, I'm a videographer," and no matter what race they are, I'm gonna work with them if they're doing some dope stuff. Like I'm hands down if they're doing some like really amazing work, and then when I meet them, that's the first tier. Then when I meet them, they're a good person, and then still on that first shoot, I'm studying them and seeing how they're interacting with clients. I don't care what
Right.
you look like. You can be purple. I'm gonna work with you again. You know,
Right.
and I think that that's just how it should be, and that's how people should look to me. And the power of referral is huge because once you do good work with individuals, they're gonna refer you to other people. And I know that you have benefited off of this as well, where individuals outside of the black community refer you to individuals outside of the black community, you know?
Right.
And so I'm not saying for you to try to sell yourself as a black token to be able to do work for some other people. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm saying
Right.
to have confidence in yourself, do the work, be the best, and then shop it around. You're going to get the work, you're going to get the clients. And of course, when it comes to a lot of different things, like I wanted to make this important to know, I do video outside of the studio realm. I know a lot of people may have some things where it's not access to be able to go be a director of photography on a Lay's commercial in Hollywood or on Paramount Park. Like that's not what I do. I do stuff kind of as a one-man band and bring on people as contractors. So it's a totally different space. So where I come from, I'm coming from a entrepreneurial standpoint and not a career. And those are different things. So I didn't touch on those things because I don't know. I don't have the experience working on a big lot. But what I can tell you is from my experience, I've had highs and lows. And overall, it's trajected to a positive. And all you got to do is just keep having confidence in yourself. Brush off, but also grow in your understanding of why when those things happen that seem like a systemic, like, yeah, we don't want to with you, and it's really no reason why. They don't want to hear you. Like, those things happen. They shouldn't happen, and eventually they will not happen, right? But that's something that we need to be. Yeah, we definitely need to be thinking about that. You have anything else you want to talk about when it comes to that question? Because I do want to get to the COVID stuff, and then we also have these two questions here on Crowdcast.
No, I think I'm good. I didn't want to get too deep, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, Ben said this is some really valuable advice. That approach to business is what these larger institutions need to adopt. That's real. Appreciate that comment, man. Because, yeah, I think when it comes to just to quickly touch on that, as we have about 16 minutes left, I think we're good on time. These larger institutions, when you work with individuals, so like for me, right, I actually want to touch on this because I think this is something that's a psyche. You can talk about this too, Zyaire. When it comes to working with larger institutions, I've worked with AT&T, I've worked with Louis Vuitton, I've worked with Chevron, I've worked with like a whole bunch of different San Manuel Band of Mission Indians, all these different major United Way, Greater Los Angeles. I love that client. All those different clients that you have, you get to know the people in that company, right? And all the people that I know in that company are great. And it's been times where I've worked with some people and it's like, oh, that wasn't cool. And I said, I can't work with them anymore.
right,
And I think it all comes to not always being about the money, but it's also being about your morals, right? Those two M's wasn't, I didn't do that on purpose. But that's a
yes, you did.
quotable. That's a quotable. That's a quotable. Don't always be about the money, be about your morals. And I think morally, I work with good people who represent good companies, right? And so, what I'm trying to say is, just so I'm not taking too much time, is that when you're identifying companies that you want to work with and the clients that hit you up to where that you want to work with, all those different factors come into play. Like, how is that company working towards making sure that like you're not doing anything that is negative to the community? That's just how I am. I don't look at like my work, all of my work that I've done. I can show my grandma, I can show all my family. Like, there's nothing that I've done that is like disrespectful to anybody and
Right.
and doesn't like come off well. And I think when you find companies who align that way, they see you, and this goes back to the first question of branding. They see you and you doing adopting the same practice. You start to gel, and it's an easier way to get to work with people. So that's something that I find key. Do you want to talk on that about institutions?
Not really. You covered everything I would say, so that's perfectly fine. Yeah, you got it.
Well, I'll let you get to the next question. So the next question we have is from Jarrell. When did you realize these were the professions you wanted to pursue? So I'll let you go with that.
Well, when I realized, it had to be when I was doing it for free. I think that was the moment when I was like, I guess I do want to do this because you can speak to this. We've been friends since high school. I used to be a football player. I used to be a skateboarder. I used to be an actor. I used to do all these things. Relax, relax. Don't make me pull up pictures. Relax. But I used to. But regardless, I tried. I tried multiple things to see what I liked, just because I knew I wasn't going to get many opportunities after high school to just try anything. So I tried everything, but photography is something I was doing, regardless of what else I was doing, whether I had a job or I didn't have a job, whether I was going to college or I wasn't going to college. This was the only thing I was doing, and I was doing it because it made me happy. I didn't think about the money. I didn't even know what to charge people if I was going to charge them. And I didn't know much about photography. I just knew I liked how it made me feel while I was doing it. So once I realized that I would be doing this, even if I wasn't making money from it, that's when I started to take it serious and make it my profession, make it my career, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I would say for me, man. I figured out that this is something that I wanted to pursue because of the free stuff as well. I would say that too. But remember, man, the documentary we made, One Sound, and Mizarro
Yes,
was in
sir.
it.
Shout out to Mizarro.
Yeah,
Yep.
shout out to Mizarro. She might actually be in this. I know she registered
She
for the
better.
crowdcast, right? Zaro, if you're in here, go ahead and comment on either
We love you.
Facebook
We love you.
or Crowdcast. We love you definitely. You gave us that opportunity to be creative, to be able to do a documentary instead of an essay
Right.
for our final grade for English class. This is English, not like a video production class. And we took it and ran with it. I didn't even know I loved video, but it just kind of came naturally, and I fell in love with it. And I think that that kind of turned into me doing stuff, just trying stuff and trying to be creative and things. And when I went to college, I started making different videos with different friends. And then it just kind of grew into people saying, "Yo, your videos are dope, man. They're good." And I'm like, "Really? Oh, okay." And then I started doing free videos. I did almost like 100+ videos for free my junior year, just because I was hungry. I didn't know what I was doing. I was all autofocus, just camera, like, yeah, let's do it. This is what I think it looks like. I was looking at like commercials and trying to figure out what was going on, and then I went to YouTube videos and started learning different things. Eventually, the school reached out to me and they said, "Yo, like, we need you to do a video for us. We need you to do a video for us. We see that you're a company out here, again, branding, and we need to do a video with the vice chancellor." And I was like, "Cool, let's do it." And they gave me a check. I'm not gonna disclose that amount, but I was like, "Whoa, whoa." And
The budget was there.
exactly. And from there, man, it was just like, you know what? I can do this. I can definitely do this. And that's how things change. And as Drill says, library. We made a parody of the Cat Daddy song. Cat Daddy, Cat Daddy. We had library. I ain't trying to study. And it was all done on a MacBook, dude. Like, literally, I was holding it like this. And we were going in the library, and I was like, "Yeah, all right, next transition." If for some reason it came out well. When I look at the video now, it's trash.
Big
But
trash.
it went semi-viral. People were playing it at house parties. That's a success. And then we did a video with the police department, man, and that was like crazy. It was called "Alcohol Poison" from the Belle Biv DeVoe.
Right.
We did a whole parody with that, and actually teamed up with the police department and created this whole thing about alcohol poisoning and how to prevent it and different educational content. And that's where I kind of got my confidence from being in this profession. And it took me a while to go full-time freelance, which is okay. It took me, I would say, 5 years to do that, but eventually I did. So don't be hard on yourself if you ain't there yet. But just continue to get to there. You want to be at a professional level to be able to define who you are as a professional and guarantee, with risk, because there's always risk, but guarantee that you can do the job and deliver. Those are how people are going to work with you, and that's how you get a good name in your prospective business. So where we at? We got about 8 minutes. Let's go to the last question, and then we can end off with any final questions.
Let's do it.
So this one is about COVID. Aisha asked a question. Of
Gotta answer Aisha's question. That's not.
course, like, my wife would kill me if I did.
This would be the
She
first
like,
episode.
she was. Brandon, your live stream was great, but you didn't.
But
You didn't
big
acknowledge my question. Like, we're gonna get to that before this 8 minutes is up. You're laughing in the background right now. But let's get to the question, and then we'll get to her question, because it's hand in hand.
Gotcha.
So to intro it, what are some strategies during COVID-19 market and beyond? Or let me read it. I can't read right now. What are some strategies during the COVID-19 market and beyond? I wrote it wrong. That's why. Oh well. To continue to grow your business. So you get it. You know what I'm trying to ask.
Yep. First thing I would say is research a skill that involves you not leaving the house. A lot of things will be in home, or you will be doing it from home, kind of like you did with the live streaming services. So you need to learn a skill that will either keep you in the house or keep you in the house the majority of the job to get the project or job done. I would also say research the right demo for you, the right demographic of people who are looking for someone who can provide services without leaving the house or things of that nature. So, like product shots, like I mentioned earlier. So, whether that's for a cologne, that could be for a juice company, um, clothing. The list goes on and on. But because we're such in an entrepreneurial age, as far as people between 21 and 35, everybody's going to need a product shot. So I would say sharpen your skills in product photography, or well, this is to the photographers, but even videographers, sharpen your skills in product and make sure you can provide high quality images or content for people because everybody is going to need it. Whether they realize it now or not, they will have a product and they will need product shots for it, or they'll need consistent content just for their Instagram feed or for their Facebook page or for their website. So invest in the proper materials, the proper equipment to provide a quality product for other people. That would be my main thing with COVID-19 moving forward is invest in quality equipment for you to gain money in the long run.
Yeah, spot on, dude. And I would say just to piggyback on that, use technology to make the experience better than others, right? So again, we're in a group environment. It's a team oriented industry, but there's also this is about getting a client, securing them, and providing the best service so you can stand out. In a lot of ways, you can take pictures tethered, right? And imagine if you figured out, which it is possible, to be able to do a Zoom chat or a Google chat and tether your camera to like a program like what's a program like Photoshop or
Aperture One, Lightroom.
One, Lightroom, all those different things. You can have a session with doing product stuff for somebody and they can see it instantly. You can get instant feedback. I
Right.
don't think anybody's doing that. I just came up with that.
True indeed. I'm going to do it next time.
Exactly. So you have to be in that mindset of understanding how can you do things and adapt. And I'm trying to figure out how I can do that for me when it comes to live editing and doing things like that. Everybody knows how to use Zoom, right? Everybody knows how to use Google Chat. And there's ways that you can screen share what you're doing. And even more so for photography, you won't get a frame lag or anything because it's all stills. So if you're taking photos of a product and being able to get live feedback, one, it takes away your editing time because they can tell you what photos that they like or they don't like. And two, you know that you're giving what your client wants. And then three, another photographer is not doing that, right?
Right.
And so now you're the person who's doing that, and they're going to refer, yeah, I was at home and they were taking photos and I saw it right on my computer. That's how
Right.
they interpret it, right?
Right.
And then, but you're doing that, and it's real simple. It's literally just tethering your camera to your computer
Right.
and doing a Zoom call. That's it, right?
And sharing your screen.
Exactly. And for that, you can get paid more because
Right.
that's now a service. You can get paid more than what you were doing because you're adding another service, right? And that's something you can keep doing after this. So anything that you're doing now, you can keep doing. And I think that's the greatest thing. Let's get to Aisha's question before she kills
Let's
me.
do it.
What goals have you created as a result of COVID-19? So I guess we're gonna get away from what we've done, but what are some goals that we have? And do you want me to go first, or you want to go first?
Yeah, go ahead. I got to think on that one.
Yeah, I gotta think too. That's a good question, man.
So, COVID, my goal hasn't been photography wise. I haven't had one. I just want to get back comfortable with my inflow of money. So I guess a goal would be, because of COVID, I would like to book more weddings, to be honest with you. I want to book more 2021 weddings because a lot of my 2020 weddings were canceled or postponed. So a goal for me is to not reconstruct my wedding prices, but be more accommodating for the couples who were ruined by this year's events and stuff like that. So, uh, more weddings in 2021 and more accommodating to the couples affected by the 2020 happenings. That's one of my goals.
I would say personal goal. My personal goal is to continue to challenge myself on how to pivot. Right. I feel like this COVID-19 pandemic, and again, I go back to the business side because on the health side, it's very real and it's something that's affecting people, and I don't want to take that lighthearted. So, anybody who's dealing with that right now, I'm praying for you and all that stuff, like for real. On the business side, it ignited me, man. Like it gave me some sort of like, it gave me a kick. Like it gave me a kick to be like, all right, so what are you gonna do next? You know, it wasn't like, oh man, I won't be able to get jobs and I won't be able to continue to grow and I won't be able to make money because everybody. No, I was like, nah, let's. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do when it comes to this, right? And then what that eventually came to was me figuring out this whole live streaming thing. Business wise, I want the live stream to grow. I want that to keep growing even post COVID because eventually we will move past this pandemic. And I want to continue to grow that to being as much as a benefit and the success from the event stuff, and then also incorporate that into my events where I'm doing on location live streaming, not just this remote live streaming.
Right.
Which I did just actually get a client that I will be doing something for early July on location for a release of one of their products. So
Congratulations.
thank you, man. God is good, dude. So
Okay.
so yeah, we're getting into the last seconds, man.
Let's do it.
Well, is there any other questions that we have? If not, let's see if I got anything. We got one more question and then we'll be off.
Cool.
What is the hardest lesson you have learned to get where you are at today? That's a really nice closing one. So I'll let you go first and then I'll close.
The hardest lesson I've learned so far is saying no to money. A lot of times it's not worth the headache. Some dollar amounts are amazing, but you have to really think about, is trading your happiness for a dollar amount worth it? It's not. Your happiness has no dollar amount. Your joy has no dollar amount. Your peace, your rest, there's no dollar amount you can put on that. And once you get to a point where you're tired of giving up peace and happiness and joy for a dollar amount, you start realizing that dollar is not that important anymore. So maybe about 2 years ago, I really stopped booking headaches. I don't, if I can tell that you're going to annoy me or cause my life harm in any form or fashion, I just happily decline. I'm sorry, I'm not available anymore. I can refer you to so-and-so, but I don't book headaches just for my sanity, for my happiness, for my peace. So I've left a lot of money on the table, but I have been happier and I don't regret it at all. I don't regret it at all because once I start giving up my happiness for dollar amounts, then I might as well get a 9-to-5 or a regular job and just do anything for a dollar amount because I'm not doing photography for money. I'm doing it because it makes me happy. So that's my answer for that.
Yes, sir. that was going to be mine. I do have another one though. So you're spot on with that. I would say I learned that time is more valuable than money. And when I say that, and I learned that through success. I learned that through success, not failure. Because when you're successful, success comes with problems. And those problems aren't necessarily things that would make you feel like bad, but they'll stress you out and they'll make you uncomfortable. And sometimes there's not an immediate solution. About last year, around the summer, I was like at the height of my success, man. I was out here working almost every day, event after event after event, and I was editing at night, staying up until 3 a.m., getting up at 8 a.m., doing another event. I mean, a lot of y'all who follow me on Instagram was seeing that. I was taking my luggage and bringing it down and up every single day, and it almost came to a bubble. Like I was at a ceiling, and I was tired. I had to, and then I couldn't like perform like the way I wanted to on shoots, but I did. I pushed through, and then I had to edit, and but sometimes it was just too much, and I would have like these like mental like breakdowns of like, oh my gosh, like what am I doing, right? And I started to remind myself that okay, you're making a lot of money right now, but this isn't good. You're not eating right. You're not getting enough sleep. You're not being the best that you can for your partner, right? And when we were blessed to find out that like we were having my kid, I really had to really figure out like, man, how can I change my lifestyle? I have to look at my time as being something that's valuable and important. And
Time is cash.
by making sure that you have the right clients who are going to respect your time first and foremost and pay you adequately. But then it was also to create a system of trust. So I had to learn how to trust people, not just to be on shoots with me, but to do shoots on my behalf. And that all was because I valued my time, right? So just this past week, I sent out one of the guys that I love to work with. No, I wasn't even there. They did a whole shoot without me, and I'm at home with my kid. And they sent me the footage, and I was able to edit it. And it takes a while to get to that because you have to trust yourself and you have to trust who you are. And that's why I think that time is more valuable than money, because the money will keep coming, right? You can make more money and work less time if you grow yourself, if you grow to have more trust with people. If you grow to be able to not be the person that tries to be the gladiator and try to do everything and anything and be the face of your company, you have to be there and you have to do that. And yeah, Dro was like, "That's Aisha baby too. That ain't just a baby." But yeah, that's what it's about, man. That's what it's about. So that's what I would say. But yeah, like I told y'all, you have any last words? I'm finished because I respect y'all time. We went over a little bit, but I think it was needed.
I just have some shout outs. That's about it.
Go ahead, go ahead.
I want to shout out Casey Stokes and Taylor Gilmore. These guys let me annoy them when I didn't know anything about photography. They let me ask them questions. They gave me honest feedback, opinions, and they taught me a lot about photography when I first started. So I don't appreciate them publicly enough. So I just want to shout out Casey Stokes and Taylor Gilmore.
Awesome. I'll do a shout out too because that was a good idea. We should definitely do that for other series. Zyaire started it. So I want to give a shout out to Walter Bogan. He was the person who helped me get into college. He was the person who helped me understand like a lot of different things of how to develop into being career driven and also business minded. And then also the individuals, Katia Armstead, Carrie Bradford, and Maka, who are all at UC Santa Barbara, who believed in me to create that position as a video communications coordinator. I wouldn't be where I am right now because of that title alone, and that experience gave me even more business, a more business mindset to continue to do what I'm doing. And there's a whole lot more people, just like you can name a whole lot.
Of course. I got a book.
Exactly, and you all know what we do and how we appreciate you. But those are just some people that came up to mind that really were the catalyst to getting me started to where I am now. So that's the session, man. I hope y'all learned something. You felt something. You can leave with this. Zyaire, thank you so much, man. We're gonna continue doing work and find another topic, man, and bring you on. Oh.
Yeah, she said this. She said session over, Daddy.
Hey, my assistant, you got something to say, people? Huh? No?
Hi, Maya.
Look at the camera.
No. Hi.
All right, y'all. So yeah, that's it, man. And stay tuned to next week. We're gonna actually have something on Friday. I'm gonna reveal the guests on Monday. And let's keep this going. Let's keep it moving. And yeah, love y'all. And thanks, man.
Rest in peace, George Floyd, man.
Yes. Yes, 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 yes.